Past, Now, Read presents another entry in our anthology of stories that need to be told. Spider Wars. Enjoy. Prologue. I am the shadow. I am not seen, not heard, only felt. You won't catch my shadow slanting across the floor or hear my breath behind you in the dark. But when your pulse quickens for no reason, when your skin prickles as though the air itself tensed, I am there. I was born in fire. A records warehouse, torched to bury truth, buried me too. I should have died. Maybe I did. But what returned was something else. Something untethered from light, from time, from law. I don't explain. I don't appear. I don't save. I sense injustice, betrayal, imbalance. And then I move. Call me myth. Call me curse. I am not coming back, because I was never truly gone. But I am watching. And something is wrong in Ukraine. This war, it was never just about territory. Something underneath the headlines twists and curls like black wire. I don't see it, but I feel it. Soldiers trembling not from cold, but confusion. Children vanish. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Gone, like vapor in frost. Whole cities mourn sons they'll never bury. And now, something stirs. Something sharp. Something small. Thousands of tiny hearts built to sting. Not bombs, not bullets. Drones. I feel their hum before they fly. An invisible army preparing to crawl through the cracks. An army born from desperation, powered by secrets, aimed at the beast that dares call itself a nation. They don't know how deep the fire burns on the other side. But I do. Chapter 1. Kiev in the crosshairs. Kiev breathes smoke, not from burning wood, but from exhaustion. It's a kind of fatigue I've only felt in war zones, the throb of a city that's forgotten what peace smells like. Every siren is a heartbeat, every window shuttered not for sleep, but survival. I follow no map, leave no footprint. But I pass through the old power station of Volitsia Elektron, where generators hum low and persistent. Below ground, where the cold seeps in, she works. Alina. She doesn't know I'm here. No one ever does. But her presence tugs at me like a magnetic field. Her movements are brisk, efficient, laced with urgency. She's threading conductive wire into a drone half the size of a clenched fist. Its wings, razor-thin carbon. Its eyes, stolen lenses from Chinese phone cameras. Its brain, Ukrainian-built, coded to strike. She hasn't slept in 38 hours. I know this not by sight, but from the dry static of her nerves, the sharp frequency of her heartbeat. A screen beside her blinks through KD models, swarms of machines shaped like spiders, each tagged with a Russian infrastructure target: airfield, oil depot, mobile command unit. These aren't toys. These are scalpel blades in a sledgehammer war. Across town, in a shuttered embassy basement, Viktor Semenko counts money that doesn't technically exist. US aid, ghost funds, money wired through fractured crypto wallets, phantom donors and former Swiss intermediaries who no longer breathe. Victor was once a top-tier banker, but he saw the game was rigged. Now, he finances wars. And somehow, in this scorched city, Alina and Victor have found each other. Not in romance, not yet, but in shared scars. He provides the means. She engineers the end. And together, they plot what Ukraine dares not say aloud. Strike back. The world thinks Ukraine is bleeding out, that its soldiers are tired, demoralized. They're not wrong. Morale is a currency here, and it's running low. But something changed. 2 weeks ago, a Russian transport convoy rolled into Kherson with 17 children and never left. The parents filed reports. The police shrugged. One mother set herself on fire outside a government office. The footage never aired. But Alina saw it. And since then, she's been building. Not revenge. Resolve. Still, I feel something else here too. Not all hands are steady. One set, calloused, cold, moves wrong. It touches schematics it shouldn't. Copies files, late into the night. Someone inside this effort is pulling strings of another kind. And if I don't act soon, the web they're spinning will strangle this city from within. Ukraine is wounded, yes, but not dead. And sometimes the most lethal thing in war is the thing you don't see coming, like a whisper, like a drone, like me. Chapter 2. Wired hearts and dirty hands. I trail them, not like a ghost, but something more primal, less haunting, more felt. They work in tandem, but orbit like planets caught in opposing gravity. Alina codes in silence, her fingers tapping a fractured rhythm on the console. Her knuckles are cracked, not from cold, but from tension. She trusts no one, not even Victor. And Victor, he's hollowed out in places a doctor could never find. Guilt is stitched into his breath. I feel it each time he exhales, like carbon bleeding from a crack in the wall. They sit across from each other in a half-lit bunker, lined with copper coils, discarded chips, and AI modules no larger than sunflower seeds. A microswarm is being assembled, coded to mimic insect patterns, fly autonomously, detonate on heat signature. Every ruble we use, Victor mutters, comes from an enemy's pocket. I won't apologize for that. Alina doesn't answer. She's buried in neural net diagnostics, but I feel her recoil. Not in words, but in blood pressure and breath shift. It's not the money. It's what it cost her to use it. Her father was a railway electrician, executed in Mariupol. They found his name flagged in a Russian internal security list after he refused to sabotage Ukrainian infrastructure. Alina swore then she would never touch tainted systems. And now, here she is, powering her war with Russian oil profits funneled through Victor's silent contacts. He leans back, cracking a vertebra like a confession. You think I enjoy this? I'm laundering guilt. That's what this is. She finally looks up. Her voice stays low. We can't become the monster we're hunting. She doesn't know it, but she's right and wrong. Because the monster isn't at the gates anymore. He's already inside. Not Victor. Someone else. Someone watching them both. Sasha. Young. Quiet. Alina's protege. The boy who soldered her first flight control chip. He moves differently now. I don't see him, but I sense it. The friction he leaves behind. His shadow brushes things it shouldn't. Twice. He's lingered in the underground server room after hours. Once, I tasted copper in the air after he passed, like data bleeding. He copies code, transfers files. He's not careless. He's careful. That's worse. I drift through the drone staging room. The swarm prototypes are lined on foam trays, each tagged with GPS override and AI toggles. Beautiful. Deadly. But one of them is wrong. I can feel it, humming just off frequency. Its AI chip has been tampered with. The logic path rerouted, subverted. It doesn't respond to Ukraine's encryption signature anymore. It responds to someone else. A trigger in Russian. Sabotage isn't a strike. It's a delay. A doubt. A rot that waits. And I feel that rot taking root now. Sasha's breath fogs the small window above the lab bench. He thinks he's alone, but I'm standing 6 feet behind him, where the heat curls differently off his neck. I don't act. Not yet. I don't kill. That isn't my code. But I correct. Victor, across town, drinks from a chipped mug while reviewing crypto transaction logs. He's spotted something. An unusual echo in a ledger bounced from a Monero shell wallet. It mirrors a past Russian laundering pattern. He freezes. I feel his stomach drop. His pulse slows. And then, Alina. In her private notebook, handwritten, no tech. She circles a timestamp. A security camera glitch. Repeated. Predictable. It's coming together. They just don't see the face yet. But I do. In the next room, Sasha slips a flash drive into his boot. Carefully. Calmly. He's done it before. And he thinks no one knows. But I feel the air recoil from him. I feel the floor beneath his weight tense like a held breath. He's not doing this for money. Not power. He's afraid. Fear like his always smells the same. Electrical. Like burnt wires and sweat. Alina works late that night, rechecking drone calibration. She finds a line of code that shouldn't be there. A failsafe to trigger location betrayal mid-flight. Who wrote this? She whispers. Victor doesn't answer. He's already pacing, panic in his bones. Outside, in the frost-lit alley behind the staging lab, Sasha lights a cigarette with fingers that shake too little. He's not nervous. He's resolved. And I'm standing right behind him. No one sees the laptop inside the van disappear. No one hears the files evaporate from his drive. No one notices the small cut across his palm that won't stop bleeding. But he feels me. He knows. The war he thought he could delay just arrived early. Not with bullets, but with presence. And tomorrow, when those drones rise, there will be no turning back. Chapter 3. The Betrayal Protocol. The air is colder now, not from weather, but from momentum. The kind of hush before detonation, a pressure in the silence, a knowing. Tonight, they test the full swarm. 200 drones, packed in industrial fish crates, coded to sleep until their wings feel midnight. They'll be smuggled across the northern border, quiet, unassuming, indistinguishable from cargo Ukraine's lost count of long ago. But Alina's hands hesitate on the upload. Something doesn't feel right. And that's not just her instinct. It's mine too. I hover above the staging bay. Neither air nor light nor noise. But something else. a sensation that brushes along her spine, makes her blink twice without knowing why. She reruns the launch protocol, line by line. Line 44, execute A-03 handoff. Line 45, if signature, as South Kyiv, reroute to AltNet. Line 46, AltNet, node Rus, mainframe. She freezes. The code reroutes command. Mid-flight, the drones will abandon Kyiv's control. They'll fly, still, but under another's flag, Russia's. She doesn't scream, doesn't cry. She just stares, eyes glassy, breath short. Across the corridor, Victor is poring over a Bitcoin trace routed through Malta, traced to a data center flagged 2 months ago in Khimki. His voice cracks. It's not an intrusion. It's internal. Sasha. They both know it now. Without confirmation. Without confrontation. And I know it too. I trail him to a service hallway lined with busted fans and old transformer panels. He's holding the flash drive again. The same one from 3 nights ago. Only now he's more careful, more urgent. This time, I act. I drop the air temperature 10 degrees. The lights flicker. Not from me, but because his own fear surges through the breaker box he's leaning on. He drops the drive. By the time he bends to retrieve it, I've already broken it in half. He doesn't understand. Not really. He clutches the pieces and stares at them like betrayal can be reversed by sheer confusion. I don't leave a message. I don't need to. His palms tremble now, like they did when he soldered his first circuit board under Alina's instruction. He admired her once, respected her. Now he's afraid of her, or what she might do, or what I already did. Back in the lab, Alina resets the swarm firmware from scratch. She codes through bloodshot eyes, and every keystroke feels like a heartbeat pounding in her ears. Victor watches her without speaking. He doesn't know what to say. Maybe he never did. But he feels it. Her anger, her loss, her commitment. And I feel it too. She doesn't stop for 10 hours. Not to eat. Not to breathe. When she finishes, she locks the swarm in cold metal shipping crates and writes a new key, physically engraved in a metal tag hanging from a dog collar. She wears it herself. And Victor finally speaks. We could disappear after this. You know that, right? She doesn't look at him. I don't want to disappear. I want them to know we did this. He nods. It's not pride. It's something deeper. A final note at the end of a broken symphony. The operation moves forward. 6 convoys roll out of Kyiv in staggered patterns. Refrigerated trucks carrying fruit, fish, copper piping, and beneath them, drones packed with micro-lithium batteries, stealth-coded rotors, and programmed rage. Sasha is nowhere to be found. Gone. Not arrested. Not dead. Just vanished. Alina doesn't speak about it. Victor mentions it once, then never again. But I know where Sasha went. He tried to run. I trailed him to the edge of the Carpathians, where frost clings to old telephone poles and signals go to die. He buried something in the snow. A phone. A device. He thought he was being clever. He wasn't. I stood behind him, silent and vast, and let the night itself show him what it feels like to be watched by something that cannot be tricked. He left the mountains barefoot. By the time he made it back to the city, delirious and bleeding from frostbite, the convoys were already on the road. He tried one last thing, scrambling a radio relay, but I was already there. He climbed a communications tower near Dnipro and reached for the kill switch. I froze the tower's signal plate with liquid nitrogen siphoned from the HVAC unit. When his fingers touched the panel, they stuck fast. Tore skin. He screamed. No one heard him, except me. And Alina, back in Kiev, woke suddenly. Not from noise, but from sensation. A feeling she couldn't explain. I was there. Her breath calmed. Her heart slowed. And she whispered without knowing, "Thank you." That word lingered in the air. Not for me, but maybe because of me. And Victor, sitting in the last convoy, final truck, drone crates beneath his boots, received a ping from a remote server in Geneva. An anonymous donor, 7 million euros. Untraceable. Marked. From one ghost to another. He didn't smile, but he closed his laptop with reverence. The swarm had no countdown, no broadcast, no flag, but it had purpose, and no saboteur was going to stop that now. In the darkness, inside a world that still doesn't believe Ukraine can bite back, the sting is already in the air. A whisper, a wing beat, a war-changing shape, and I'm right behind it. Chapter 4. Swarm of the Forgotten. Midnight falls over Moscow like a lid snapping shut. No alarms, no anticipation. Just the hollow stillness of a capital that believes it cannot be touched. But they forgot about insects. They forgot about ghosts. They forgot about her. The first explosion rips through the Engels 2 airbase at 12:03 a.m. A heat bloom, silent until it wasn't. Fuel depots rupture. Strategic bombers, Tu-95s and Tu-160s, engulfed in seconds. Dozens of them, each worth millions, reduced to twisted black steel. Then the ripple begins. Rzew, Kursk, Voronezh, Lipetsk. Every site marked by Alina's drones blooms fire into the Russian night. 200 autonomous spiders, too small to be noticed on radar, too smart to be stopped mid-flight. They hit heat. They hit fuel. They hit memory. The internet fractures. Russian networks flood with internal chatter, confused, desperate, afraid. Then they go dark. No state propaganda this time. No staged footage. Only fire. I watch it unfold not on screens but through feeling. Each strike hums like a pulse in my bones. The drones carry more than explosives. They carry presence. A message. We are not finished. Alina doesn't watch the news. She knows what they did. That's enough. She stands in her lab with empty hands, watching the condensation build on the inside of the crates they left behind. Empty now. Quiet. As if they'd never held the swarm at all. Victor sits nearby, staring at a cup of cold tea. He hasn't moved since the last detonation rolled in from Kaluga. The mission is complete. The world is stunned. Russia, rattled, embarrassed, screams for retaliation. But they never saw what hit them. Never understood how Ukraine slipped beneath their skin. Not missiles, not tanks, not foreign soldiers, but engineers and ghosts. Alina finally speaks. They'll come harder now. Victor doesn't lift his eyes. Let them. They know now. We can bite. She nods, once. But her shoulders remain heavy. She walks to the wall, touches a faded photograph of her father, the one she refused to take down even when bombs fell 2 blocks away. She presses her forehead against the concrete beside it. I feel her breath, slow. It trembles, not from fear, but release. This wasn't revenge. This was remembrance. Downstairs, a package waits. No note. Just a black data chip with 1 line of code. Remember, Bucha. She doesn't ask where it came from. She already knows. Victor closes the blinds and kills the lights. But in the darkness, Alina doesn't move. She watches the void outside, and for a long moment, I stand beside her, not touching, not speaking, only being. And she knows. She doesn't know my name. No one does. But she knows there's something here that isn't bound by orders or flags. She feels it, like you feel a shift in gravity before an earthquake. A pressure that says, you're not alone anymore. Not ever again. But the fire still burns behind closed eyelids. Not just in Russia. In every corner of the world that watched and thought, they weren't supposed to win anything. They weren't supposed to dare. And now, those watching realize, Ukraine is no longer the story of a country trying to survive. It's the story of a people refusing to die quietly. And behind them, within them, beneath the surface of code and courage, I move. I always have. Epilogue. The one who tried to stop us. They found Sasha's body 6 days later in the woods outside Dnipro. Not executed, not tortured, just cold. He'd collapsed near an old transformer station, still clutching the remnants of the drive he tried to hide. His boots were missing, fingers frostbitten. He hadn't run far enough. No one claimed him, no headlines, no memorials. But Alina went. She stood over the shallow ditch where his body had been marked for state pickup. Not a grave, a location. She knelt, didn't speak, just ran her hand over the earth like she was smoothing out a wrinkle in memory. I taught him to solder, she whispered. He said circuits calmed him. The wind stirred. A bird called once. Nothing answered. I should hate him, she said. But I don't. She stood, wiped her palms on her coat, and walked away. I remained. Not for Sasha, not for justice, but for balance. There will always be another war, another betrayal, another spark looking to catch. But there will also be her, and people like her. And as long as they fight in silence, I'll be there. In the current, in the cold, in the whisper, watching, waiting, correcting. You have been listening to The Shadow, Spider Wars, produced and adapted for audio narration by Past, Now, Red. Stories that need to be told. Please subscribe and hit that bell for future updates. If you like this story, Stay tuned for the next episode each Friday evening. Follow for more. If you like our stories, please tag with someone who may also like Past Now Read. Stories that need to be told, it would really help our channel. Thank you. All content and images are copyrighted by Phone House, LLC. 2025, all rights reserved.